When large jobs require moving massive amounts of snow, get the work done quickly and efficiently with the Western Pile Driver and all-new Pile Driver XL pusher plows, both featuring Trace Edge technology. These pushers scrape down to the pavement with an advanced cutting-edge system that has independent 2-foot sections that move vertically, oscillate, and trip. Get more jobs done faster with the Western Pile Driver lineup of pusher plows.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey with your host, Dave Westcott. The Entrepreneurial Journey is a weekly podcast that streams live every Tuesday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on Dave's YouTube channel and LinkedIn profile. Now here's Dave with this week's episode.
Good morning and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm your host, Dave Westcott. Today I have Matthew McLaughlin, Director of Development at Dawson Place Child Advocacy Center. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, David. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the invitation.
I'm glad that you're here. We also have Dave Lundquist. Some know him by Pastor Dave Lundquist on our show this morning as well. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So we're back in the saddle with Dawson Place. This is one of our favorite organizations that we work with, located in Snohomish County. Matt was actually working with the UW as an internet information specialist for 11 years before you decided to get your fundraising certificate, go through the certificate program, and then you joined Dawson Place. And then in the fall of 2015, you were brought on as the Director of Development. And basically the goal here is Dawson Place will grow to meet the need of every child abused victim in Snohomish County. Always as I think this is tough work. Always I think this is tough work. Tough work. And the reason why we have somebody like Matt on the show, if you've never heard the show before, is because I believe that every entrepreneur, founder, owner, co-founder, CEO, business person, I believe we have a responsibility in our local community to support organizations that help make our communities a better place. I believe it's our responsibility as leaders, as business owners, to take the initiative and help stand up for the abused children or whomever it might be that needs a little bit of help. And so I'm a believer that if you're in the community and you were to go out of business and nobody knew, then what was the point of being in business? So I think that every entrepreneurial journey has some kind of connection with community. We've been working with Dawson Place for quite a few years now, and always one of our favorite organizations to talk about. You've been here now a long time, so it looks like, now you've been in this, 10, 11 years at Dawson. What are you passionate about with Dawson Place? What is it that drives you to work in this environment today?
That's a good question, David. And I got to tell you, when I first got hired on at Dawson Place, it was my first professional fundraising job ever. I did not want to be there, but I had no experience, and I got turned down over and over and over again. So I took the job at 18 hours a week. I had a family started, and I was dirt poor, and I went on a tour with some of the people that have been working there longer to learn about Dawson Place, so to better understand how to raise money through grants and things. And on one of these tours, there was a group of, I think, church ladies, a little bit older. And at the end of the tour, one of the ladies almost started crying. And she just said, "I wish Dawson Place existed when I was a little girl."
Wow.
And her friend tried to comfort her. And she asked, well, what kind of help did you get when you were little? And she said, oh, I didn't get any help. I didn't tell anybody. I've never told a soul. So here's this lady,
Wow.
and that has carried this burden her entire life. And when I heard that, it hit me. It turned the mission into something that is heartfelt. It turned the mission into something that I can be a part of making sure that that doesn't happen to kids these days. I mean, child abuse is still happening. It's going to happen. It's always happened. But Dawson Place hasn't always existed. We've been around for 17 years. And that's the difference, and that's what really drives me. That's where the fulfillment comes from, being part of a team that really does the hard work. I distance myself from the details because I wouldn't be able to sleep knowing some of the things that are going on. But I do know that I am part of something that is extraordinarily important. Trans Blue is part of something that is extraordinarily important, and that's where my passion comes from.
Wow, that's an awesome.
Thank you for that. That's amazing. It's amazing, the change that can happen when you know that your job is more than a job, but it's a calling, and that you see lives are changed because of it. I know Dave's going to probably ask this question, but I'll throw it out there while I jumped in there.
Question stealer.
Give us just an overview of Dawson Place. I mean, what do you guys do? Because you guys, obviously, it's about children. Tell us the need. Tell us the stats. Give us context.
Yep. Well, Dawson Place was created because every child abuse victim deserves safety, justice, and healing. So what Dawson Place is, we are a child advocacy center. This is a CAC. The CAC model brings all the different services that our society has created to help families and children that are dealing with child abuse, and it brings them all together in one location. So Dawson Place is 17 years old. We are in a building with 5 other agencies, 3 government agencies and 2 other nonprofits. We're all co-located in one building, and Dawson Place is the youngest organization in the building. All of our partners, they existed well before Dawson Place did. And that's because Dawson Place was created by people that were in the system, that people were already serving these families and recognized that the system was broken. It was not properly helping these families out. People, when abuse was disclosed, they might tell the kid tells their story to a police officer, and they go into the police station and have their interview there, and then they have to go and drive and find the prosecutors, and they tell their story again there, and then maybe they go to the hospital and they got to tell the story again. And what happened is a lot of people during this time of crisis, it was just too hard to get the help that they need. And so Dawson Place is a child advocacy center, which is a model that brings all of the services into one place. And it really simplifies things. It facilitates access to the help that we've always had. But now families can go to one place. And once you're there, it's very child-centered. It's very compassionate. And the people that work there are extraordinarily devoted to helping these families. So in the one location, we have law enforcement. We have the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office and the Prosecuting Attorney's Office. Located upstairs in our building, we have a Child Protective Services office in our building. That's where the safety and the justice come from. And then downstairs, we teamed up with Compass Health, which provides our therapy services. And Providence, their intervention center for assault and abuse, is located at Dawson Place. And they have nurses on staff. They have 2 medical exam rooms, and they have a host of victim advocates who will listen and talk to the family and help them get signed up and make sure they get all the different resources and services that they need that'll help them recover during this very difficult time. So that's what Dawson Place is. We are a one-stop shop for families that are in crisis, from child abuse. And once they come in the door, no matter how they get there, they get access to all the different services that our society have created to help families that are dealing with this issue.
That's awesome.
That is, you guys are doing a good job. And it's an incredible thing. I think that in business, it's important to support places like Dawson Place. And in fact, it's so important to my mission. One of the things we do is snow removal. Snow removal is the big part of our business. And it really hasn't snowed in 2 years. And so it's been probably 2 of the toughest years we've been through in the last 20. But as we look at cuts and reductions and, all of these things that we have to do on a daily basis in business, the things that we don't cut are things like Dawson Place. Like we continue to, want to lead in the community in that way. As your role is, fundraising, you are essentially the money guy.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for you on a daily basis to bring money into Dawson Place? How do you go about that? How do you build those relationships? What does that look like to build the nonprofit?
One of my strongest skill sets is my ability to write and communicate. And so I have really built up a long list of grantors, foundations that support our work. And so throughout the course of the year, I probably write 70 or 80 grant proposals, and the majority of them are awarded to us. So that's a really big way that we raise money. We also have our annual Luncheon. It's a fundraiser in downtown Everett. And last year, I think there are 600 people, 550 people there. And we do this every year to really bring more people into the awareness that Dawson Place exists and these services are available. Every year, it seems like about a third of the people there have never been there before, which means they're really learning about Dawson Place. But it's also a time where we reach out to the community and we say, look, we need your help. If we're going to be able to find all the kids and help all the kids and families that need our services, we need the community to support us. And TransBlue has been supporting us for several years, I think since 2018 or 2019. And they do this by sponsoring this event. They are the lead sponsors, and I went back and did a little bit of adding, David.
Yeah.
You have given us $85,000 over the last 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
That is how the community steps up and helps us do what we need to do. I also, I talk to individuals that are passionate about our mission to help these kids and families and have the capacity to support our work. So there's a lot of individual support, from everything from $25 a month from people that, have a lower income, to people that give us a $25,000 gift because they know that their money is well placed at Dawson Place. It's invested into the community, and it will result in the positive impact in kids and families. And when I talk about that impact, it's that lady that I met in one of the tours on my first year there. It's the kids that get to Dawson Place, their future. They're like, we're talking about 50, 60, 70 years. Their future is absolutely altered for the positive because of the support and the help they get at Dawson Place. So there's a lot of different ways to bring revenue in. And I approach as many as I can because really, I know there is a gap between the number of kids that we serve every year and the number of families and children that need our help. I know this statistically. I have found it. I know the gap is right now is 22%. We serve about 1,100 kids and families every year. I know because of the population of Snohomish County and the statistics of how many kids will experience abuse, sexual abuse abuse and assault. And the math tells me there's over 200 families that need us and aren't getting the help that they need. And so you talk about what drives me, and that right now, that is what drives me, is how do we build out to a point where everybody that needs our help knows how to get it? And really, how do we encourage those families that know about us but are afraid to take that first step? How do we encourage them to ask for a little bit of help? And then once that support comes, then they can start to recover from the things that have been going on in their homes.
Those are some amazing numbers when you think about, 1,100 or so each year. I think you guys averaged. That's three a day, over 3 a day families come through your place. And it's not a one-time event. I mean, you guys just don't, pat them on the back one time and then out the door. These families are with you for a long period of time, going through counseling, going through the process, aren't they?
Yeah, it's different for every situation, right? Every situation is unique. Some families come in, they don't need that much help. They get a little bit of support and they get kind of put right back on their feet and they're fine. Others, they have to, go to trial. They have to meet with prosecutors. They have to be deposed by the defense attorneys. There's a much bigger process. So they're coming back and they're doing those parts of it, but they also come back every week for their therapy if they need it, right? And so some people, they'll be coming for months or even years. It just depends on their needs. And we provide all of our services for no charge. They're free. The therapy is provided until they don't need it anymore or until they turn 23. The funding that we have is that's the cutoff stipulation, is the age of 23.
Have you guys seen, sorry, Dave, jumping in one more question. Have you guys seen successful prosecution of pedophiles taken off of the street because of the entrance coming through Dawson Place?
Absolutely. Upstairs at Dawson Place, in one side of the building are 8 or 9 deputy prosecutors. On the other side of the building, on the same floor, are 8 or 9 detectives. They work hand in hand from the start of each case. And if you recognize the importance of the sharing of information and the building of relationships when it comes to how are we going to approach this investigation and this prosecution, when you know the person, you're sitting down, you go knock on their door and say, all right, let's talk about this one. It's way different than giving a call to somebody that you maybe have worked with before and saying and approaching it from that angle. So it is absolutely having them in proximity with each other makes them more effective at catching these predators and at putting them away. It increases their ability to do their job and do it better.
Yeah.
Did you say that what was the percentage of the 1,100? What percentage of the kids does that make up in Snohomish County?
So there is a 22% gap between the 1,100 kids that we serve every year and the 1,300 kids that statistically need our services.
Okay, so there's 22% of the kids get missed.
That's right.
22% get missed. That is a huge number, but the 1,100 is still good. The thing is, you would be surprised at how many people I know go to Dawson Place. It's just like the more that you get involved here, you run into somebody and they're like, oh yeah, my kid's Dawson Place. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then you're like, you hear it again and you hear it again. And it's like, so it's actually crazy because, it doesn't hit home all the way just listening to the statistics. But one question that I have is that it's tough in there. Just taking the tour is tough. I mean, just just taking the tour can bring you to tears. Like it's tough. I mean, I'm not going to lie, especially when you go into the examination room and you see all these sticky hands and, it's like the kid knows they're not alone because there's 1,100 sticky hands on the ceiling. I mean, it's going to break you down. It's just, and you don't even work there, like on some level, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. I can't believe this happens in our world. And then on the second level, you've got the people who work there. How do the sheriffs, the officers, the prosecutors, how do they deal with this? How do they not burn out? How do they get back up and come to work the next day and not be just destroyed?
Yeah, well, that is something that we've really come a long way in just the 10 years that I've been there, recognizing that you don't tough through it. You don't power through this. You don't brush it off. When you feel that you are affected by a story that you've heard, and you hear so many and you don't know why, but some of them stand out, and they're affecting your sleep, and they start to affect your mental health. And which starts to affect your relationships and such. These are things that we have resiliency trainings so that people they can self-recognize when they're in a bad place. But there's also, everybody in the building is kind of in the same boat. And so there's a lot of people looking out for each other. A lot of the nurses and advocates, once in a while, they say, let's go out. Let's go to the Irishman downtown and let's go have some appetizers and let's talk about some of the stuff and just kind of get it out. And a lot of time just talking about it and with somebody that is listening and understands where you're coming from can really help you kind of just clear that out of your head so that it's not just up there over and over again. But there are also services that we have available. People are really struggling, then they can request a little more professional help if it's needed.
The thing
so there's
that
peer support. Go ahead.
Yeah, peer support is good. I think the thing for me that is always toughest to kind of imagine is that these encounters, these abuses, these assaults, these happen in the safest places.
Yeah.
Right? That's where these things occur. They occur with
So
family.
they are almost always someone that the family knows or within the family. Almost always. We've got a really new, it just started in January. It's a prevention program. And it's called Protecting Your Children, Advice from Child Molesters. There's this lady, Corey Jewel Jensen, who spent 35 years actually interviewing child predators, sexual predators of children. And she gathered all this information about how they groom not just the child, but how they groom the whole family, how they gain trust, how they move into a church and gain the trust of the church. And now they have access to the children that they get to, that are there. These are things that nobody really wants to talk about or admit, but this new training is focused toward adults. It is the adult's responsibility to recognize when these things are happening and to protect the kids that are within their care. So this is relatively new, but the trainings are put on by police officers and advocates and child interview specialists. They're put on by the professionals that are out there that's saying, we want to have less kids coming to Dawson Place. We don't want them to ever need Dawson Place. And so it's one of those things that's starting to gain a little bit of traction, a little momentum. And I'm absolutely keeping an eye on it. Right now, it's 100% volunteer by police officers. I think there's 7 different police departments that have somebody that's involved in this new campaign. But I'm looking to see if it's going to take off a little bigger, then I'll start raising money and say, let's have someone that's going to coordinate this thing, so that we can get out to more communities and get the word out to more adults so that they can start protecting the kids that are on their baseball team, or protecting the kids that are at their childcare, protecting the kids that are in their home.
What are some of the tips?
Yeah.
So
what should you look out for? Like if you're just somebody on the call,
there's going to be plenty, right? But usually it's the breaking of small boundaries. It starts with the breaking of small boundaries. So that would be always having a child, like bringing them up on your lap and giving them hugs and doing things. That's not bad. But at the same time, if this isn't somebody in your family, then that's kind of breaking a boundary. I believe you need to ask permission before you start to touch another person's child. That's one of many. I mean, there are the child molesters that are used to gain this information. There's a lot of different points to be made, and I can get some of the handouts that we do. I can absolutely make those available to you, that they hand out during these or after these trainings, these presentations, that will, just kind of lay out more of the things to look for. I've got one in particular in my head that I was reading, and I'm going to challenge my family, my brothers and my sister and my parents. I'm going to challenge them to read it and start thinking about that when there's cousins over, when there's these things going on, right? And all it is,
Matt,
it's not something to be afraid of. It's just something to know. You got to know it, right?
Yeah. Matt, is that something that's you can provide, like a PDF that we can then, if people contact us, we can then forward it to them?
I'll send you a copy of it after we're done here.
Great. Then if anybody who's interested, all they have to do is type in info@embridge.global, and I'll get it to them and I'll forward that right on to them. So info@embridge.global, and we'll make sure that and all you have to do is say, hey, I'm interested in the resources.
Yep.
So, and we'll know what that is. Great, thank you. That's huge, because you're right. I'd love to be able to read through that and get a little bit of perspective. And, once a little bit of light shine on this area, it just causes you to be able to maybe recognize, oh, wait a second, that's not good. There's something going on there. And I think, once you know that, then, you can confront or you can protect if, however, you need to go about it. But that's powerful. Thanks.
Sure. I mean, it's a lot easier to ignore it and pretend that it doesn't happen around me. But 1 in 10 children will be sexually assaulted before they turn 18. So you go into a classroom and you can point out 3 or 4 people they're in that classroom are or have experienced sexual assault. So everybody on this podcast, you may not know it, but you know somebody that has been assaulted. You know somebody that potentially could have need the help from Dawson Place, or could have been helped by Dawson Place, so that they may be in a better place now than they are. You know people. They're in your family. They are your friends. They are among us, and it's important to recognize that. Pull your head out of the sand and be responsible for the children in your care.
Now, a lot of like when I think of a predator, I think of like a man. Okay, that's just what I would think. Like it would, but are predators female as well?
Yes, there are female predators as well. It's
and
less often. I don't know the percentages off my head, David. I know predominantly they're male.
Predominantly male.
Yep. At Dawson Place, about 70% of the kids that come through are female. and about 60+% are victims of sexual assault. So those are that's I think maybe there's more boys that need our help, but they're more afraid to come forward because of masculinity and such.
Shame.
Like shame. Yeah.
They think
How
they're
much,
going to get in trouble.
do the young boys get more physically abused? Is that where you see that, or is that I mean, as far as just being hit and beat and type stuff, or is that both? Is that a equal percentage as well?
So yeah, it's not equal. Most of the kids that come are for sexual abuse. Okay. About 28% is everything from physical abuse, neglect, drug endangerment. So kids that are have access to illicit drugs or witnessed violent crimes. Kids that have seen their mom get beat up by their dad. Or other crimes of this nature. Those are all traumatic events, and Dawson Place helps all the kids that have had any of those experiences. But only about 28% are non-sexual assault. The rest are sexual assault. That is the prominent issue that we're dealing with.
Yeah. Wow.
Biggest needs for Dawson Place right now. What is for anybody listening who wants to contribute, who wants to dig deep? I always feel like people should dig deep for amazing organizations like this. What are the needs of the organization today?
So we do have a lot of wonderful support. We need more outreach. Outreach is like to bring another full-time outreach person on. These are people that will engage with communities across the county. That's going to be another 110,000. That's salaries, benefits, all of those things, right? To bring somebody in like that, it costs money, and it's something that we need to be able to support in longevity or perpetuity even. We're also at a point where when I first started there 10 years ago, almost 11 now, there were about 45 people in the building. Dawson Place had 5 of the employees, and then the rest worked for the other partner agencies there. Now there are 73 people in our building. We've converted filing rooms into offices. We've converted the elevator room on the main floor into a supervisor's office for therapy. We are kind of busting at the seams, and our capacity to serve is very high. We can meet the demand, but it is getting to a point where we're going to need to consider building something that is more suitable to the numbers of people that we need in order to serve all the kids and families that need our help. So one of the big needs, and it's not immediate, but we are starting to look into a capital campaign. We're looking to purchase some land, parking lot that's adjacent to our building so that we can potentially build on it. We have a footprint that is almost big enough, but we're not quite there. So there's a lot of things going on. So, but one of our biggest needs, I'd say, is outreach. And then I'd say long-term, it's really just making a facility big enough to do what it is we need to do, which is to serve every child abuse victim in Snohomish County and beyond. About 10% of the people that we serve are from outside of Snohomish County. We don't care where you're from. If you need our help, we're going to help you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great.
And the gala, the lunch.
Yep. The luncheon
first week in November.
Yep. November 7th this year. It's on a Thursday. It's downtown by the arena, the Angel of the Winds arena, the conference room there. It can hold up to 750 people, and it's free to everybody. There's your classic chicken salad or whatever, but then there's a whole program. It's about an hour long, and everybody is welcome. It's first come, first serve. So when it's full, then we start saying, I'm sorry, you can't come. But aside from that, it is free. We will give you an opportunity to support our cause through a gift, through donation. But it is free because of businesses like TransBlue, who gave us sponsorship money that helps cover all the expenses of the event. And that way, everybody there knows when they are giving money that day, it's not to cover the cost of their salad or the venue rental or any of that. It's going directly to programs and operations. It's going directly to the services that will brighten the future of the kids and families that depend on Dawson Place.
How do people sign up? How do people get into the lunch? Where do they register?
Events at dawsonplace.org. Events, EVENTS at Dawson Place. No, it's singular, not Dawson's. DawsonPlace.org. All you got to do is send an email and say, hey, I would like to RSVP for the November 7th luncheon. Boom, Great. You're in. Or, hey, I would like to be a table captain and invite people to your luncheon. I would like to fill up a table of 10. It doesn't cost you any money. It's just now you get to bring 10 of your family and friends in with you to better understand why Dawson Place is important to them and the community that they live in. So it's as easy as just saying, hey, I want to go, and till there's no space, we'll say, okay, you're on the list.
Perfect.
Awesome. I love it. If you're out there, make the event Thursday, November 7th. It's going to be awesome. Check out Dawson Place online. Donate. Give a little bit of that hard-earned cash to a great organization helping many, many people. I know we will be this year. We're very excited about it. Matt, thank you very much for being on the show. Dave, thanks as always for being on the show. Any final words before we close?
Well, I want to thank you again for the invitation. But really, as Dave was saying, it is important if you are truly a part of your community, your business is truly a part of your community, then you need to give back to that community. You need to support the community. You need to help make your community safer and healthier. Dawson Place is just one way. You need to find a cause that you care about that your staff, your employees care about. Find a cause and support it. Let them know that when they're working, they're not just working for you, but they're working for their community. I just think that I can't say enough that we can't do what we do without the support of the community. And I think it's the onus is on you as a business owner to help make the place that you need to do business, help make it a better place.
How can anybody listening get a hold of you?
My Matt.McLaughlin, you can do that, or you can just do info@dawsonplace.org, info, and I will have those forwarded to me. If you say I want to talk to Matt about sponsorship or support or a tour, you want to come do a tour, let me know. I think it's really important to show people why Dawson Place is so important and what's going on there. The tours are powerful. As David was saying, and I think the more people, once you walk through and you see what we're doing, I think you might want to be a part of it because it is awesome.
Yeah, it is very amazing. It's an amazing organization. All right, I'm Dave Westcott. Follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Reach out to me. Send a DM through LinkedIn. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Check out Dawson Place. Dig deep. Help an organization that's helping over 1,100 kids every single year. We're here 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single week. The Entrepreneurial Journey. Check us out. We're going to have some fun, and give it a like, give it a share, drop your comments in the comment box. We'd love to hear from you. Matt, Dave, thank you so much for being on the show today, and I look forward to seeing you at the luncheon. Have a great afternoon.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dave. See you guys.
Thank you.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.